For centuries, the British royal family has been a bastion of tradition, a living storybook of rules, etiquette, and protocols built over hundreds of years. But what happens when a new character enters that story, one who isn't afraid to write her own chapter? No royal bride in 400 years did what Meghan Markle did, and it sent shockwaves through the monarchy and the world. Today, we're diving deep into how one woman challenged centuries of royal tradition and what it meant for the future of the crown. Before she was the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle was a successful actress, a humanitarian, and a woman who had built her own life and career. Born and raised in California, she was a world away from the palaces of London. She was outspoken, self-made, and proudly biracial, a background that was entirely new for the British royal family. When her engagement to Prince Harry was announced, the world was captivated. But behind the fairy tale headlines, a complex reality was unfolding. Meghan wasn't just marrying a prince. She was marrying into an institution, an ancient system with a very specific and rigid rulebook. This wasn't just a culture clash. It was a collision of worlds, the modern, independent woman meeting the age-old, traditional monarchy. And from the very beginning, it was clear that Meghan wasn't going to simply blend in. The first, and perhaps most public, display of this was her wedding day. A royal wedding is usually a masterclass in tradition, but Meghan and Harry's was different. It was a beautiful fusion of old and new. She walked the first part of the aisle by herself, a powerful statement of independence for a royal bride. In a historic first, the ceremony featured a gospel choir singing "Stand By Me" and a fiery, passionate sermon from American Bishop Michael Curry. These elements, so full of life and reflective of Meghan's heritage, were unlike anything seen before at a royal wedding. It was a declaration that this wasn't just another royal union. It was the start of a new, more modern chapter. Beyond the wedding, the breaks with protocol continued. Royal family members are expected to remain politically neutral, but Meghan had a long history of activism. She continued to speak out on issues she was passionate about, like feminism and racial equality, sometimes blurring the lines of royal impartiality. Her fashion choices were also scrutinized. While elegant, she often favored styles and designers that were more modern and international than the traditional British brands favored by other royals. Even small things, like holding hands with Harry in public or closing her own car door, were seen by some as breaches of unspoken royal conduct. To many, these were signs of a relatable modern woman. To others, they were signs of disrespect for the institution. Each action, no matter how small, was magnified and analyzed, adding to a growing narrative that Meghan was difficult or unwilling to conform. The media's reaction was intense, and many would argue, deeply biased. From the moment her relationship with Harry became public, the press coverage was relentless. While other royals were often praised, Meghan faced a level of scrutiny and criticism that was unprecedented. Headlines frequently contrasted her actions unfavorably with those of her sister-in-law, Kate Middleton. Stories focused on her family background, her race, and her American heritage, often with negative undertones. This constant barrage created a toxic environment. The public was divided. Many saw the media's treatment of Meghan as unfair and racially motivated, rallying to her defense. They saw a strong woman being torn down by an outdated establishment. Others, however, bought into the narrative presented by the tabloids, viewing her as a disruptive force who didn't respect the traditions of the family she had married into. This division wasn't just about one woman. It was a reflection of broader societal debates about tradition, race, and modernity. So, what did all of this mean for the monarchy's image? Meghan's presence forced the royal family and the public to confront some uncomfortable truths. She brought issues of race and diversity to the forefront of a historically white institution. Her modern approach and global appeal initially seemed like a massive asset, a way for the monarchy to connect with a younger, more diverse generation. She was a breath of fresh air, a symbol that the monarchy could evolve. However, the subsequent fallout, culminating in her and Harry's decision to step back as senior working royals, painted a different picture for many. To some, their departure, and the reasons they gave for it, suggested that the institution was perhaps too rigid, too insular, and unable to truly embrace change and protect its own members. It raised questions about whether the monarchy could genuinely adapt to the 21st century, or if it was destined to remain stuck in the past. The story of Meghan Markle and the royal family is more than just a tale of broken protocols. It's a story about the clash between tradition and progress, between an ancient institution and a modern woman. Meghan didn't just break the rules. She challenged the very idea of what a royal should be. She walked down the aisle alone, brought her culture into the chapel, and used her voice to speak for what she believed in. In doing so, she held up a mirror to the monarchy, forcing it and the world to look at its reflection. Whether you see her as a modernizer who tried to bring the monarchy into the future, or as someone who could adapt to its storied traditions, one thing is undeniable: Meghan Markle's time as a senior royal forever changed the conversation around the British monarchy. Her impact has left a permanent mark, forcing us all to ask what we expect from a royal family in today's world. The ripple effects of her actions are still being felt today, and they will likely shape the future of the crown for generations to come. Thank you so much for watching. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Meghan was a force for positive change, or were the traditions too important to break? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. We'll see you next time.